If you're interested in how highly successful investors overcome limitations and become unstoppable forces of success, you're in the right place. The Conscious Investor Podcast features weekly conversations with real estate investing experts and delivers a Monday Mindset episode to help launch your week with intention. If you believe success is for everyone willing to think, then do, these conversations will be your weekly rocket fuel. Welcome back, Conscious Investors. I am excited to talk about building confidence and cultivating confidence. And today I want to share with you 3 acknowledgements that will help you grow your confidence. I'm calling this 3 acknowledgements because there are some things that we don't have control over and we have no influence over. And we just simply need to acknowledge it is the way it is. I cannot change it. And sometimes we simply need to acknowledge something so that we are very consciously aware, oh, this is how it is, and I can change this, and I'm going to really take action to do that. These 3 acknowledgements are going to really give you 3 ways to windows into where can I build self-confidence? And it might even reveal areas where you are weak. I guess that goes without saying because you want to build it, but you can always build on something that's already there. So I just really want to drive that point home, is that hopefully these 3 questions are going to reveal to you these areas where you're like, okay, oh, that kind of stung, Julie. You're right. I need to work on that. That's an area where I can see my self-confidence is being crippled or debilitated or what have you. 2 podcast episodes before I move on that I want to direct you to that are really helpful when it comes to building self-confidence. One, Ryan Holiday recently, he released this podcast episode called The Reluctant Leader. I like this episode a lot because I think oftentimes there's a combination with self-confidence and reluctance. And also just a lack of looking at ourselves in a particular way. So definitely head over to Ryan Holiday's Daily Stoic podcast. Check out that episode. Short, it's really insightful and really helpful. The other episode I would highly recommend on confidence would be go check out Ed Milet. He has a solo episode somewhere within the last 4 to 6 weeks on self-confidence. And he shares so many personal things that you're like, whoa, that's really a window into who you are, because he seems so confident, right? And so he's going to talk about that. It'll support you tremendously. But today I want to serve you in this capacity. I want to give you 3 acknowledgements that you can just take some time to contemplate and see if that's an area where you're getting shortchanged on your self-confidence because you're giving something away. So let's go ahead and talk about these. And at the end, I'm definitely going to give you a super rockstar bonus. So make sure you stick to the end. And one last thing before we jump into the first acknowledgement is that you know somebody. Every one of us knows someone. We're like, golly, they have so much to offer. Why aren't they taking action? They're not taking action because they lack the confidence. So make sure you share this podcast episode with someone you know it's going to support. All right. Acknowledgement number 1, as we are on the path to building self-confidence. And that self-confidence first acknowledgement is, can we just acknowledge that there's a level of, who am I trying to please, right? Or who am I trying to emulate? So a lot of times when we look at a lack of self-confidence, it's because we are actively so trying to please people. And here's what happens when we're trying to please people. We have an idea, and most of this is in our head. We have an idea of their expectation. And we are, how do we say that? We are gauging ourselves off of their expectation. So let me see if I can give you an example of this. If I think that we could use LinkedIn, this is very, very true in my life, right? There could be this in my mind. Oh, there's this expectation. I need to show up to LinkedIn every single day. I need to have a post every single day on LinkedIn because these people who I want to do business with, who are amazing, and I want to partner with them and I want alliances, they show up. And if they see that I'm not there, they're not going to take me seriously and they're not going to want to do business with me. Right? So do you see, I've just like put this whole entire narrative on these people who have no idea that I have put this narrative on them. We do this so often. So now what can happen is, oh gosh, you know what? As busy as, putting deals together, as coaching clients and in doing, family life, and I didn't make that post. Oh no. And now it can start eroding at my self-confidence. Oh, they're not going to, all because I gave way to these expectations of these people that don't even know what I am thinking in my head. We do this around our homes with our families as well, right? We have expectations as parents. We have expectations, our kids, they know we have taught them, we're great parents. We've taught them how to behave appropriately. We have taught them, how to be independent and how to take action and initiative. I mean, like, man, we're all like just rock star parents. And yet we have this, so we have an expectation that our kids are going to show up consistently in this like rock star way because they know the way and they don't, right? So that's another, like, we're putting these expectations out there. We're putting them onto people and we're putting them onto ourselves. And when we do that, we trap ourselves and our self-confidence takes a beating for it. First acknowledgement, just acknowledge your relationship with other people and the world, manage the expectations, and take a moment. I would highly recommend one day this week, you just take 10 minutes and journal about it. And when I say journal, you could do a voice memo in Evernote. You could do a quick little video to yourself. You can, like, it doesn't have to be sit there with paper and pen. It could be on a napkin, whatever it is, because the moment you actually output what is in your brain into, like, you're consciously, intentionally writing it down, you will find further clarity into it. So I highly recommend take the time, 10 minutes, just jot your thoughts down on, how am I working with other people's expectations? Who am I trying to emulate? Who am I trying to please? And what is that relationship and the influence in my life? And what's the effect on my self-confidence because of that? All right, let's go on to the second acknowledgement. And the second acknowledgement is something that a lot of people don't take time to do. When is the last time you actually took time to dream and to visualize who you want to be in life? I coach clients, and this is one of the first things we do is like, what is your ideal self? So a lot of times we're so wrapped up in the day-to-day that we don't take time to actually see where that will lead us. And because we don't take the time to see where that will lead us, we're just in this washing machine cycle. And so as a human, we're really not growing and progressing. That deeper vision, that dream that is within you, you were created and designed by God with that. That is your contribution to give to the world. Okay, I'm going to say it. If you want to be a millionaire, there's nothing wrong with that. By the way, millionaire these days really isn't much. So let's just bump that up. Let's just say you want to, be at least 5 million, have at least 5 million, in assets or however you want to visualize that. If you have that, there's a deeper vision and dream that is actually going to be a contribution to the world. You can't achieve success without supporting people around you. And that's where I think a lot of people get the business world all mixed up in general, because they'll just complain, oh, those greedy business people. But all those quote greedy business people are actually doing so much because they can't get there on their own. They can't be a greedy business person unless they are actually serving and supporting people below them, providing jobs, providing opportunities, taking the risks to open up new factories or to invest in something, right? All of these things have different requirements. That's not to say that there aren't some greedy people that I would have nothing to do with. I'm just saying it's important to have perspective on that. So I want you to take time to really imagine, go out into a quiet spot, go to your happy spot. For me, I did this recently. I sat, the sun was out, it was warm, it was amazing. And I just sat in my front yard in the sunshine, and I could hear all sorts of birds and cows and all these critters in the world. And it was just beautiful and peaceful. And I started just contemplating, where do I want my life to be in 3 years, 5 years? More than likely, as an adult, you haven't done this in a really long time. And you're just kind of on the conveyor belt path. You are living detached from your true contribution. You're living more than likely in a position of security and comfort versus how do I follow that dream? And how do I contribute to the world? So maybe you have a great voice, but you've been burying that voice. You can sing really well, or maybe your voice is, I can write really well and I can share my ideas, and maybe I should be writing a book on this, or maybe, right? You explore the possibilities. If money was no issue, if you didn't have to worry about making a living off of it, what would you actually be doing with your life? The third acknowledgement it goes hand in hand. The moment we decide to follow and to actually visualize what does my ideal self look like? Like if I were to visualize the man or woman that I want to grow into, how do people talk about that person? How do people engage that person? How does that person respond back? Right? Really taking time to explore, because we have a choice. We don't have to be exactly who we are. We shouldn't. We should always be growing and evolving into that next version of ourselves. But in doing so, we have to battle our inner critic. And that is that third acknowledgement, is just acknowledge the noise between your ears. Acknowledge that it is normal for someone to doubt themselves. It is normal for someone to say, oh, who are you? You can't do that. That's ridiculous. It is common for people to face insecurities as they are trying to, put together, how do I work with this dream I have? I want to contribute it to the world, but I don't know how. It's kind of messy and raw, and it doesn't look polished and perfect. That's okay. It doesn't need to. That inner critic is there to challenge you. And everybody needs not a nemesis, but everybody needs a challenger in their life. Right now, you have a challenger. You probably have that friend, probably a very close friend, and it's not jealousy, but you're like, oh man, I'd really like to be able to do that like that person. Or maybe it's with your business. Oh, I'd really like to be like that. And it becomes more of a healthy competition. And I do say healthy. I'm not talking about those where it's like, I got to take this person out, or it's not that. It's just a friendly, in your mind, that person inspires you to be more or to do more. And that's a healthy thing. The inner critic can serve in that same capacity. The inner critic can be that little competition for us, right? When that inner critic shows up and is like, oh, I mean, like, you're just like a school teacher. I mean, like, really, what can you do? I mean, like, you just, stick to the little kids. Don't try to do anything bigger in the world, which, by the way, that is a big thing to do. I'm not disparaging that at all, but I'm just saying, for me, that was, yeah, well, I mean, hey, I could always go back to education because I love it, but I needed to contribute something more. I took that risk. But when that inner critic shows up, I can challenge it, right? Because it's challenging me, and it's actually making me stronger if I allow it. So when that inner critic shows up, I want to acknowledge that inner critic. And instead of looking at it as, oh, I can't do that, I just need to, stay over here in this lane, then you can say, you can rise to that occasion, and you can challenge it back and overcome it. Okay. So there's a friendly relationship that can happen with your inner critic, but the first thing you have to do is you must acknowledge it. Okay. 3 acknowledgements as you are trying to develop your self-confidence, right? So we have to acknowledge, number 1, other people, their influence in our life, that we may want to emulate them, etc. We also need to acknowledge, number 2, our dream and our vision that is probably buried deep within us that you need to go on a treasure hunt for. So make sure you do that. And the 3rd acknowledgement was that we need to acknowledge our inner critic and actually befriend it, and not look at it as the enemy, but look at it as a guidepost. Look at it as the friendly competition. And it's telling you no. Maybe you throw a little rebellious teenager at it. you telling me, no, I'm going to do this all day. Okay. And so your bonus on this is that in order to accomplish all of these things, in order to really develop that confidence that you want to walk with, you're going to have to do this one thing. So you've acknowledged a few things. Acknowledging things doesn't accomplish anything but clear up some mental space, offer some clarity. But in order for you to move on, you must take action. So we have that, and I've spoken about it before, but we have some congruency or credibility that we always need to be nurturing within ourselves. Recently, I've been I don't know what it is, but I've been really tired. And so I've been wanting to sleep in. I actually have. I slept in for 2 weeks, and maybe it's the kids getting it. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter. So whatever reason, I slept in for 2 weeks. And guess what? It was making me feel like a piece of crap. Not because sleeping in is bad, but for me, I was losing credibility with myself and that trust. So I was like, well, are you really going to follow through on that? Is this really that important? And so everything starts to crumble and erode. So I want to encourage you that taking action and doing consistent action in these areas is what will really bolster up that inner self-confidence. Okay. And also, second bonus that I wasn't intending, but this is really important, is that your confidence comes from within you. Your confidence isn't going to come from telling you, hey, good job. Hey, this, hey, that. No, your confidence is going to come from, oh my gosh, I just finished that project. I've been working on it for the last 1.5 years. Wow. Oh my goodness, I just spoke in front of all these people and it went really well. Now I've grown confidence. Right? Everything that we choose to follow through on is going to cultivate and develop that confidence. Taking action is going, and so taking action is going to build that confidence, and it's going to build that inner confidence and congruency, that trust within yourself. All right. This week, as you are going about your week, look for those voices. Look for those places where you need to acknowledge, oh my goodness, I am a little jealous of this person, or I want to be like that person, and it's a healthy thing. Just start acknowledging, open your eyes, be conscious about what is going on. Be conscious also of your inner critic. And as you're walking about, look for your dream. Right now, my husband has it's not really a dream, but it's something he wants, right? And it'll give you an idea of how you can carry this out. He wants to get a motorcycle. By the way, I'm fine with that. Go get a motorcycle. Just please stay intact and be safe. However, I notice he's talking to everybody he knows about motorcycles right now. Anyone he knows who has a motorcycle, he is speaking with them, trying to learn. So be curious as you are trying to discover or rediscover your dream or your vision. Be very, very curious. And in that position of curiosity and talking to people and exploring, you are going to find more information and more affirmation. Okay, make sure you share this episode with somebody that you know, and please make sure you leave a rating and review so that it reaches more people, because that's a real thing. It really happens. All right, until next time, live big, love bigger, and remember, adventure belongs on the trail, not in your investing. So if you're ready to level up life, if you're ready to start coaching and optimizing your life, reach out. Let's schedule some time for you to enter my coaching world, because I opened up a couple new spots. And if you're looking to level up your finances, then please make sure you reach out and let's get you hop on an investor call. All right, really, for real, the real sign off now, I suppose. Live big, love bigger. A lot of people missed out on my recent offering because they simply weren't on my investor list. Being on my newsletter list won't provide you with access to the deals I have. This is because 506B regulations require you and I actually discuss your investment goals before I can show you the deals I have. If you're on the fence about investing in apartments, schedule a call today at 3keysinvestments.com. If you think you're new, so you don't want to be on an investor list, you're missing out on opportunities to refine your ability to review offerings because you simply will never see them. So head over to 3 Keys Investments and schedule a call.